This documentary is for educational purposes only. Historical interpretations may vary. Welcome to Learning Life content. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Your support helps us grow and motivates us to bring you more fascinating and enriching stories. The Indus River, a mighty ancient artery of the subcontinent whose waters have shaped the destinies of empires and the daily rhythms of countless generations. For millennia, this river has carved its way through the formidable ramparts of the Himalayas, the rolling valleys of the Punjab, and the vast sun-baked plains of Sindh, etching its presence into the very geography and soul of South Asia. Its waters are as old as time itself, flowing with the memories of vanished civilizations, echoing with the voices of those who once built their lives along its banks. The Indus is not merely a river, it is a living, breathing thread that binds together the past and the present, weaving a tapestry of culture, survival, and hope for millions who depend on its flow. For over 5,000 years, the Indus has been the lifeblood of civilization. Along its fertile banks, the earliest urban centers of the Indus Valley civilization, Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and a constellation of other ancient cities, rose from the earth, their mud-brick walls and intricate streets testament to a sophisticated society. These cities thrived on the river's steady seasonal flow, which brought not only water but also rich alluvial soil, enabling agriculture to flourish. Farmers tilled the land, traders navigated the river's currents, and artisans crafted goods that would travel far beyond the valley. The culture that blossomed here left an indelible mark on history, its legacy still visible in the traditions, crafts, and daily lives of those who inhabit the region today. Even now, echoes of that ancient world linger in the rituals, languages, and livelihoods of people living along the Indus's winding course. The journey of the Indus begins high in the remote icy reaches of the Tibetan Plateau, where glaciers and snowfields feed its nascent streams. As it descends from the towering Himalayas, the river gathers strength from the monsoon rains and the meltwaters of countless mountain rivulets. It plunges through deep, dramatic gorges, carving its way past sheer cliffs and rocky outcrops, before emerging into the broad, fertile plains of the Punjab and Sindh. Along its epic journey of over 3,000 kilometers, the Indus is joined by a complex web of tributaries, each with its own unique character, history, and contribution to the river's mighty flow. Together they form a vast, interconnected system that sustains one of the world's most densely populated and agriculturally productive regions, before finally fanning out into a sprawling delta that meets the Arabian Sea. Among these tributaries, the Jhelum stands out with its serene, emerald-green banks and storied past. It has witnessed the march of ancient armies like those of Alexander the Great, and the prayers of countless pilgrims who have crossed its historic bridges. The Chenab, swift and powerful, surges through the heart of Punjab, its waters nourishing vast fields of wheat, sugarcane, and orchards heavy with fruit. The Chenab's flow is vital for the communities that depend on it, shaping both the landscape and the culture of the region. The Ravi, winding gracefully through ancient cities like Lahore and Amritsar, is a lifeline for countless villages and towns, its waters sustaining both agriculture and daily life. The Bees, gentle and verdant, meanders through the lush fields of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, bringing life to the crops and communities along its banks. The Sutlej, the longest and perhaps the most dramatic of the tributaries, originates near the sacred lake Rakshastal in Tibet. It carves its way through the harsh rocky terrain of the Himalayas and the arid expanses of Punjab, its journey marked by both natural beauty and human endeavour. Together, these rivers form an intricate and dynamic network, creating one of the most fertile and productive river basins on Earth. Their waters sustain not only vast fields of crops, but also entire communities, providing essential drinking water, supporting vibrant fisheries, and enabling trade and travel that have connected distant regions for centuries. The river system is a living mosaic, its channels and canals weaving through a landscape teeming with life and activity. Along the banks of these rivers, daily life unfolds in a timeless rhythm. Families gather at the water's edge to fetch water, wash clothes, and perform rituals that have been passed down through generations. Children splash and play in the shallows, while elders share stories beneath the shade of ancient trees. Bustling villages and thriving towns have sprung up beside the water, their fortunes rising and falling with the river's seasonal moods, sometimes generous, sometimes capricious, but always central to the community's existence. The river's life-giving waters are harnessed through an elaborate network of canals and irrigation channels, transforming arid land into a patchwork of green, productive farmland. Farmers depend on these intricate systems to bring water to their crops: wheat, rice, cotton, sugarcane, and a dazzling array of fruits and vegetables. The bounty of these fields forms the backbone of food security and economic stability for millions, underpinning the prosperity of entire regions. The Indus River Basin is a treasure trove of natural and human wealth, a vast expanse of farms, villages, wetlands, and forests. Its sprawling delta, where the river meets the sea, is a vibrant ecosystem teeming with birds, fish, and people, all intricately linked to the river's ebb and flow. The health of this basin is crucial not only for the environment and wildlife, but also for the millions who call it home, their lives inextricably tied to the river's fortunes. Spanning the borders of India and Pakistan, the Indus and its tributaries are more than just sources of water. They are shared legacies binding together diverse peoples and cultures. These rivers have been both a source of cooperation and at times contention, shaping the political and social landscape of the region. Yet above all, they serve as a powerful reminder of our profound connection to water, a force that sustains life, shapes civilizations, and continues to flow ever onward through the pages of history. The story of the Indus is ultimately the story of life itself, enduring, ever-changing, and always moving forward. Long before the tumultuous events of 1947, the Indus Basin stood as a testament to shared heritage and collective destiny. A vast, fertile expanse where the river's life-giving waters shaped the rhythms of daily existence. For countless generations, people of varied faiths, languages, and traditions coexisted along the riverbanks, their lives interwoven by the gentle flow of the Indus and its tributaries. The river was more than a source of water. It was the very artery of the land, sustaining farmers as they coaxed green shoots from the earth and providing for families who gathered at its edge to collect the day's supply. Over centuries, these communities engineered elaborate networks of canals and water channels, transforming the basin into a patchwork of thriving fields and villages, each dependent on the careful stewardship of the river's bounty. The Indus Basin was a vibrant mosaic, where festivals by the riverside echoed with music and laughter, and bustling markets brought together people from every walk of life, united by the river's enduring presence. Along its banks, farmers from distant villages and diverse backgrounds toiled side by side, their shared reliance on the river forging bonds that transcended differences and nurtured a spirit of cooperation. The landscape itself bore witness to this interconnectedness. Fields stitched together by winding waterways, bridges spanning the river to link distant towns, and the ceaseless movement of water nourishing every corner of the basin. In every season, the river's presence was felt, in the laughter of children playing by its banks, in the emerald sweep of crops fed by its currents, and in the quiet assurance that, as long as the Indus flowed, life in the basin would endure and flourish. The partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 was not merely a political event. It was a cataclysmic upheaval that sent shockwaves through the very fabric of society, forever altering the destinies of millions. As the British Raj drew to a close, the subcontinent was hastily carved into two separate nations, triggering one of the largest and most traumatic mass migrations in human history. Families who had lived side by side for generations were uprooted overnight, forced to abandon ancestral homes, cherished memories, and the graves of their forebears. Communities that had once thrived in harmony were torn apart, and a deep, pervasive sense of uncertainty and fear gripped the land. In the midst of this chaos, a new border was drawn with little regard for the intricate tapestry of lives, cultures, and histories it would sever, slicing through ancient towns, villages, and even the rivers that had long been the lifeblood of the region. The line that divided the two newly formed nations cut directly through the heart of the Indus Basin, a vast and fertile region sustained by the mighty Indus River and its tributaries. This river system, which had nourished civilizations for thousands of years, suddenly found itself split by an international boundary. The waters that once flowed freely across the land now became subject to new rules, new authorities and new anxieties. For the Singh family in Punjab, whose fields had always been watered by the Ravi, the border meant waking up to find their land on one side and their water source on the other. For the Ahmeds in Sindh, the river that had been a source of joy and sustenance now became a symbol of loss and uncertainty. This division had profound and deeply personal consequences for the people who depended on the river for their survival. Farmers who had once relied on predictable water flows now faced a future clouded by doubt. Fields that had been lush and green for generations began to dry up, and entire communities worried about their future. The river, once a symbol of abundance and continuity, became a source of anxiety and fear. In the village of Kartarpur, elders recall the days when the river's song was a lullaby for children. Now they watch as the banks grow barren and the young leave in search of work elsewhere. The partition ignited disputes over water rights that quickly escalated into political and diplomatic tensions. Local disagreements over irrigation and access to water soon grew into national debates, with both India and Pakistan fiercely claiming their share of the precious resource. Negotiations became heated, and the question of who controlled the flow of the Indus became a matter of national pride and survival. In countless villages, stories abound of neighbours who became adversaries overnight, as the struggle for water mirrored the larger struggle for identity and security. The voices of those who lost access to their wells and canals echo in the halls of government, where officials pore over maps and treaties, searching for elusive solutions. The rivers, once a source of unity and shared prosperity, became a point of contention and division. Where people once gathered to fish, bathe and celebrate, there were now fences, guards and suspicion. The landscape itself bore the scars of partition as the riverbanks became the front lines of a new and uneasy peace. In the memories of those who lived through it, the river is both a reminder of what was lost and a testament to the resilience of those who remain. The laughter of children playing in the water has been replaced by the watchful eyes of border patrols, and the gentle flow of the river is now interrupted by the harsh lines of man-made boundaries. The allocation of water resources became a complex and sensitive issue, requiring careful management and constant negotiation. Engineers, diplomats and local leaders all struggled to find solutions that would ensure fair distribution, but mistrust lingered on both sides. Every drop of water became precious, and the systems built to manage the flow were often strained to their limits. In the town of Multan, a young engineer named Raza recalls the sleepless nights spent monitoring canal gates, knowing that a single miscalculation could spark conflict. The challenge was not just technical, but deeply human: how to balance the needs of millions with the weight of history and the burden of suspicion. The future of millions hung in the balance as entire communities continued to depend on the Indus for their livelihoods. The legacy of partition was not just about borders and politics, it was about the daily struggle for water, the resilience of those who lived along the river, and the hope that cooperation could one day replace conflict. The story of the Indus is a reminder that the consequences of history are felt most deeply in the lives of ordinary people, like the grandmother in Sukur, who still tells her grandchildren stories of a river that once knew no boundaries, and the young farmer in Amritsar, who dreams of a day when the river's promise is restored for all. The urgency for a comprehensive solution to the Indus water dispute could not be overstated. With millions of lives and livelihoods dependent on the river's flow, the stakes were incredibly high, and the pressure to resolve the issue mounted with each passing day. Negotiations commenced in an atmosphere thick with tension and uncertainty. Indian and Pakistani officials, burdened by the weight of history and national interests, gathered around tables where every word and gesture was carefully measured. The air was charged with both hope and apprehension, as each side sought to protect its people's future. Recognizing the complexity and sensitivity of the situation, the World Bank stepped in as a neutral mediator. Its representatives facilitated dialogue, striving to bridge the deep mistrust between the two nations. The World Bank's involvement brought a sense of structure and legitimacy to the proceedings, offering a platform where both parties could voice their concerns and aspirations. At the heart of these discussions was the challenge of ensuring a fair and equitable distribution of the Indus waters. The negotiators grappled with the technicalities of river management, the needs of farmers on both sides, and the imperative to prevent future conflicts over this vital resource. The talks stretched on for months and then years, marked by marathon sessions that often extended late into the night. Documents were pored over, proposals drafted and redrafted, and every clause was debated in painstaking detail. The process was as exhausting as it was essential. Progress required extraordinary patience, a willingness to listen, and a readiness to compromise. Delegates learned to navigate cultural differences and political sensitivities, forging a path forward through mutual respect and determination. Finally, after years of arduous negotiations and countless setbacks, the two nations achieved what many had thought impossible: a historic agreement that would shape the destiny of the Indus River and its people for generations to come. In the year 1960, after years of mounting tension and uncertainty, a momentous event unfolded that would profoundly shape the destinies of millions living along the banks of the Indus River. The Indus Water Treaty was signed, marking not just a rare moment of collaboration, but a remarkable diplomatic achievement between India and Pakistan, two nations whose relationship was often defined by deep-seated mistrust and conflict. Against the backdrop of a newly divided subcontinent, with wounds of partition still fresh, leaders from both sides recognized the urgent, inescapable need to manage and equitably share the life-giving waters of the Indus system. The stakes were nothing less than the survival and prosperity of their people. This treaty stands as a testament to the enduring power of dialogue, negotiation, and painstaking diplomacy, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable political differences. It was not merely a diplomatic agreement, but a symbol of hope, proof that, through persistent engagement and mutual understanding, negotiation could triumph over conflict. The discussions that led to the treaty were long, arduous, and often fraught with tension. Delegations from both countries, supported by international mediators, spent years poring over technical data, debating legal interpretations, and navigating the complex web of historical grievances and national interests. Yet both sides ultimately recognized that the stakes were too high for failure and that compromise was essential for the greater good. The treaty meticulously allocated the waters of the Indus and its tributaries between India and Pakistan after exhaustive technical studies and negotiations. The three western rivers, the Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab, were assigned to Pakistan, ensuring a reliable water supply for its vast agricultural heartland. Meanwhile, the three eastern rivers, the Ravi, Beas, and Sutlej, were allocated to India, supporting its own agricultural and developmental needs. This division was not arbitrary. It was the result of careful analysis, compromise, and a shared commitment to ensuring that both countries could meet the needs of their people, sustain their agriculture, and fuel their growing economies. The process of sharing was intricate, involving not just the division of water, but the establishment of rules for seasonal flows, infrastructure development, and future contingencies. The treaty outlined a comprehensive set of rights and obligations for both countries, establishing clear, legally binding guidelines for water usage, infrastructure development, and dispute resolution. It created a robust framework for cooperation, requiring regular meetings of the Permanent Indus Commission, transparent data sharing, and joint inspections of river works. This structure was designed to prevent misunderstandings, foster trust, and provide a mechanism for addressing disagreements before they could escalate into larger conflicts. The diplomatic efforts extended far beyond the signing ceremony, embedding a culture of ongoing dialogue and technical collaboration that has endured for decades. By providing a detailed and enforceable framework for the management and sharing of this vital resource, The treaty enabled both nations to embark on ambitious projects in irrigation, hydropower and flood control. It supported the livelihoods of millions of farmers who depended on the timely and predictable flow of water and ensured that cities and villages along the riverbanks could flourish. The Indus Water Treaty became a cornerstone of regional stability, a rare example of successful resource sharing in a region otherwise marked by persistent disputes and rivalries. The ongoing diplomatic engagement required by the treaty has, time and again, helped to diffuse tensions and keep the focus on cooperation. The Indus Water Treaty was a landmark agreement not only for South Asia but for the world at large. It demonstrated that even bitter rivals, when faced with existential challenges, could find common ground through sustained diplomatic effort and international mediation. The involvement of the World Bank as a neutral facilitator underscored the global importance of this accord, lending credibility and technical expertise to the process. The treaty's legacy is a powerful reminder that, with patience and determination, diplomacy can overcome even the most entrenched divisions. For generations, the Indus has been the lifeblood of the region, sustaining communities, cultures and economies on both sides of the border. The treaty offered a beacon of hope for a peaceful, equitable resolution to water disputes, ensuring that the river's gifts could be shared by all who depended on them. It remains a powerful testament to the potential of cooperation, even in the most challenging circumstances, to pave the way for a brighter, more secure future for generations to come. In the wake of the Indus Water Treaty, both India and Pakistan launched a new era of monumental engineering. Massive dams began to rise along the rivers, their concrete walls towering above the valleys. Across the plains, intricate networks of canals snaked through the landscape, carved by the hands of thousands of workers and the vision of ambitious planners. These engineering marvels were designed not only to harness the immense power of the rivers for hydroelectricity, but also to redirect and control their flow. Water surged through newly built gates and turbines, transforming the energy of the river into electricity and channeling it into distant towns and villages. The vast canal systems brought life to arid fields, turning once barren land into a patchwork of green. Power stations at the base of dams hummed with activity, while embankments and levees stood guard against the threat of floods, protecting communities and crops alike. The Indus Basin itself underwent a dramatic transformation. Aerial and satellite images reveal how the natural contours of the rivers were reshaped, valleys widened, and entire regions altered by the scale of human intervention. New landscapes emerged, vast reservoirs gleaming under the sun, agricultural fields meticulously organized by irrigation channels, and panoramic vistas of water systems managed with precision. The legacy of these projects is a testament to human ingenuity, forever altering the relationship between people and the rivers that sustain them. As the 21st century unfolds, the Indus River Basin faces a new era of uncertainty, shaped by forces far beyond the control of any single nation. Climate change has emerged as a profound and urgent concern, altering the very foundations of the region's water systems. The glaciers of the Himalayas, which feed the Indus and sustain millions, are retreating at an alarming rate, their ancient ice melting faster than ever before. This glacial retreat is compounded by increasingly erratic weather patterns. Monsoon rains, once predictable, now arrive in sudden, intense bursts or fail altogether, leaving fields parched or flooded. Rivers swell and shrink unpredictably, disrupting agriculture and threatening livelihoods. The environmental impacts are stark. Water scarcity is no longer a distant threat, but a growing reality, as aquifers deplete and once fertile lands turn barren. Rural communities, especially women and children, must travel ever greater distances to find water, while wildlife and ecosystems suffer from the loss of vital habitats. Looking to the future, these challenges demand not only innovative technological solutions but also unprecedented cooperation between India and Pakistan. The survival of millions, the health of the environment, and the legacy of the Indus itself depend on how both nations respond to the mounting pressures of climate change and water scarcity. Although the Indus Water Treaty was designed to foster cooperation and stability, deep-seated political tensions between India and Pakistan have continued to simmer beneath the surface, often flaring up along the riverbanks where national interests collide. Disputes over water allocation and usage are not merely technical disagreements. They are often charged with emotion, as communities and farmers on both sides of the border feel the direct impact of water shortages, infrastructure changes, and perceived inequities. The announcement or construction of new dams, hydroelectric projects, or irrigation schemes frequently sparks suspicion and anxiety, with each side fearing that the other may gain an upper hand or violate the spirit of the treaty. In this climate of mistrust, the importance of transparency, open communication and regular dialogue cannot be overstated. Diplomatic channels are often tested as officials strive to clarify intentions, share technical data, and negotiate solutions to emerging challenges. The Indus Water Treaty, with its detailed provisions for dispute resolution and third-party arbitration, remains a crucial framework for addressing these conflicts, offering both countries a structured path to manage disagreements and avoid escalation. Yet the ultimate success of the treaty depends not only on legal mechanisms, but on the political will, mutual trust, and shared understanding of both nations, a delicate balance that must be continually nurtured to ensure peace along the Indus. The Indus River, which has long been a symbol of both division and discord, now stands as a powerful reminder of the immense potential for unity between India and Pakistan. Its waters, winding through the heart of both nations, offer not only sustenance but also a unique opportunity for collaboration and mutual growth. In this context, cooperation is not merely a desirable ideal, it is an absolute necessity. The shared stewardship of the Indus River is essential for the prosperity, stability and well-being of millions who depend on its life-giving flow. Both India and Pakistan are confronted by a host of common challenges that transcend borders and politics. From the fields of Punjab to the villages along the riverbanks, people on both sides rely on the Indus for their livelihoods, their food and their future. The mounting pressures of climate change, rapid population growth and ever-increasing demands for water threaten the delicate balance of this vital resource. These are not problems that can be solved in isolation. They demand joint action, innovative thinking, and a willingness to work together for the greater good. By embracing a genuine spirit of collaboration, by sharing knowledge, resources and responsibility, India and Pakistan can forge a path toward a brighter, more secure future. Together they can develop sustainable solutions that benefit not just their own people, but the entire region. Imagine a future where the waters of the Indus continue to nourish lush fields, where children from both nations play freely along its banks, and where communities thrive in harmony with the river that sustains them all. This is the promise of cooperation, a shared future built on trust, respect, and a recognition that the Indus River belongs to all. Only by working together can India and Pakistan ensure that its waters remain a source of life, hope, and unity for generations to come. Thank you for watching Learning Life content. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us grow and motivates us to bring you more fascinating and enriching stories.